Good morning, 6th grade. Welcome to your first math lesson of the year. We always begin math lessons by working the power-up that'll come in your packet. So you can see the first power-up is power-up A, where it'll be multiplication. There's a couple tricky ones on there, so wish you the best of luck when you work that one. When you're done doing the top part of your power-up, then you move into your book and you have the mental math section. There's always an A through an H that gets filled in right in that middle section. And then there's always a challenging problem-solving one that gets solved at the bottom of your page here. If you look very carefully at those problem solvings in your first 6 or 7 lessons, they'll actually give you the answer right in the problem solving. And then as we move into the book, obviously they'll stop giving you the answer and it'll be a challenge problem for you. Then on the back side of your fact practice, in the future lessons there will be a quiz at the top of it, and then at the bottom is where we write our example problems that we're going to work in the book. So I'm going to get into lesson number 1. It starts on page 6. You can see the title is Arithmetic with Whole Numbers and Money, and Variables and Evaluations. The other thing you'll need with you is your math folder. It's where we take our notes and gives yourself a helpful hint so that instead of paging back through hundreds of pages in your math book, you can just use this for a reference. It might make it go a little bit faster for you and help you out with some. And then at the end of this lesson, I will work your math problems with you. So you should have your problem set number 1 answer key, and I'll work the circled problems with you when you're done. So getting started on page 7 now, I'm just going to go over the new content that you'll need, and I'll pause and help you fill in your notes. If I ever go too fast, just remember to hit the pause button on your video, get caught up, and then hit play again as we cruise along there. Okay, so as I'm looking at my book and my yellow folder to fill that in, I can see by that first sentence it says numbers that we say when we count are called counting numbers, but they have a second definition. They're also called natural numbers. So if I look at my yellow folder, I have counting numbers equal, and I write in the word natural. Your book will use both of those. And then they give you an example. What are counting numbers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, on and on. Okay, the next line says if you add the number 0 to that, those are called whole numbers. And so in your book it says add 0 and you have what's called whole numbers. Now, here's the question they're going to ask you. In the future, they're going to say, write down all the whole numbers that aren't counting numbers. And we start to think, oh my goodness, how many numbers are that? It's just one. It's the number 0. 0 is the only whole number that is not a counting number because counting starts at 1. So some students write that on the side of that yellow notebook over here. They'll grab this and they'll say, all whole numbers that aren't counting numbers is 0. Hopefully, maybe just underline the 0 in your notes. Do what you want with this note packet to try to be able to help you out. Okay, the third thing on your notes is the word consecutive. Consecutive means in order. And so lots of times they'll say, write the next 5 consecutive numbers in this pattern. And so if the pattern is 2, 4, 6, 8, the next consecutive number is 10, 12, 14, 16. So it's keep it going in order. Continuing down in your notes and in your book, we got the orders of operations, or what we call operations of arithmetic. There are 4 main ones: addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. So I gave you 4 blank lines. Then in the middle of the page, you see that picture of the soft drink that costs what looks like 50 cents, but it's really not 50 cents because they put the decimal point there, and they say that sign's incorrect. They should have had a dollar sign to make it 50 cents. That's actually literally 0.5 of a cent, which would be half of a penny. In your notes, I wrote down decimal points are used to divide dollars from cents. We know that already. And then last but not least on page 7, right at the bottom it says numbers that are added together are called add-ins. The result of addition is called a sum. So we're going to start to get into a lot more vocabulary here. In your yellow folder I wrote addition. Add-in plus add-in equals sum. Right from the bottom, they'll use sum, difference, product, and quotient with you a lot as we go through that. As you turn the page to page 8, we have our first example. They got example A and example B. I have them on the board already for you here. If you're looking at example A, they wrote it side to side. I never write addition side to side. I like to add up and down. You can see the other thing I did is I wrote the biggest number on top, the next biggest in the middle, and the smallest on the bottom. That's just my preference. You don't have to do that. You can write it any way you want. And now we just do the addition. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 6 is 12. Write the 2, carry the 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 7 is 9, plus 3 is a 12 again. Carry the 1. 1 and 6 is 7, plus 4 is 11. Carry the 1, 4. I have an answer of 4,122. I go back, I check my book, I can see that the answer is there. Now, I would encourage you to have that written down on the back side. I know the answers are always in your book, 6th grade, but you want to get your brain going and doing those problems. Don't just copy an answer. That really doesn't do you any good. You need to know what's happening. Example 2 is working with money, and you can see what I did to work with money. They gave you $1.45. The next number they gave you was $6, but I had to add the decimal point and the 2 zeros so that it stayed space. The last number they gave you was 8 cents. I wrote it like a dollar sign so that the 8 is in the correct position, and now the addition kicks in. 5 plus 8 is 13, 1 plus 4 is 5, 1 plus 6 is 7, decimal point stays straight down, dollar sign goes with it, and I have an answer of $7.53. Second order of operation is subtraction. In your notes, you have fancy vocabulary words. Minuend, minus, subtrahend, equals, difference. And the order and subtraction matter, so make sure we keep those things working for us. This year we'll get into negative numbers, so it's not always what you used to learn when you were in the little grades. Put the bigger number on top. That'll work at the beginning of this year. That'll go away as we start to work through this. The two subtraction problems, 5,207 minus 948. Right from the start, they make me borrow. Cross out the 2, make it a 1, makes that a 10. 10 becomes a 9, so this can become 17. 17 minus 8 is 9. 9 minus 4 is 5. Can't do this one. 5 becomes a 4, make it an 11. 11 minus 9 is 2. 4 straight down. The one with money, once again, they didn't give me the decimal points. I put the decimal points in to line them up. 5 gets crossed out to a 4, 10 becomes a 9, last one becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 is 5, 9 minus 2 is 7, 4 minus nothing is 4, decimal point straight down, dollar sign, $4.75 as we work through those two problems. Third order of operation is multiplication. In your notes, it's factor times factor equals product. You can see that near the bottom of page 8. Then I need to highlight a few things at the bottom of page 8 for you. You can see there's a number of ways to write multiplication. We're used to the multiplication sign. Awesome. There will be a dot this year. And sometimes as we get into lesson 20 and all of a sudden we go back and we see some dots that confuse us. Dot means multiplication. That'll help us a lot. They can also put it in parentheses. Numbers next to each other in parentheses mean multiplication. And the last one, they have letters, A, B. That'll be more at the end of the year where they do that to us. A little bit. We'll do some with substitution at the beginning of this year, but a lot of that they'll give you in the future a letter and a number, so it'll be what's 4A, and 4A means multiply those numbers together. Let's work a few with example 3. I have them over here. The first one is 164 times 23. 3 times 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 6, 18, plus 1 is 19. Carry the 1. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 is 4. Now I'm working into the tens position. So to get to the tens position, I have to 9. I erase these things so they're not in my way and confused. 2 times 4 is 8. 2 times 6 is 12. I carry that 1. 1, 2 times 2 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Now I got to add that 2, 17, carried it, 1, 5, 2, 7, and 3 is nothing, is 3,772. Check my work, feeling good. Next one, we're multiplying by money. You can see I have it set up to do the shortcut. Because it's a 0, I just bump the 0 down and write it straight down, so I only have to do one multiplication out of the tens position. 2 times 8 is 16, carry the 1. 2 times 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13, carry the 1. 2 times 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. 1, 2 decimal places from the back, 1, 2 decimal places, and I have an answer of $93.60. Last but not least is letter C. You can see the parentheses there. So they have 29 cents times 5. I wrote the bigger number on top because it's less steps with multiplication. I do 5 times 9 and get 45. Do 2 times 5 is 10 plus 4 and get 14. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't say, how much money do you have? 145 cents. So I'm going to get rid of that and say, what's 145 cents? It's $1.45. 145 cents is a correct answer. It would be certainly fine. It's just not how we normally talk. Before we get to example 4, you can see the little paragraph. It talks about what division is. In your notes, division is dividend divided by divisor equals the quotient. The 3 big key words you need to keep, the 4 big key terms: sum means addition, difference, subtraction, product, multiplication, and quotient equals division. They also show you the different ways you can write division with the division sign. With the division box is probably what we're used to, and then with the what we would call the fraction bar. Fraction is simply division, and we'll use that a lot this year. There's 2 problems to work. The first one is 1,234 divided by 56, and I have it written as in my division box so that I can do that. Lots of times we say this correctly, so 6th grade, get in the habit of making sure you speak math the right way. Lots of times we say 56 divided by 1,234. That's said backwards. It's 1,234 divided by 56. I get started. To give myself a hint, I cross out the 6 here and say, how many times does 5 go into 12? That goes twice, so I think 56 will go into 123 twice. 2 times 6 is 12, carry the 1. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 is 11. I do the subtraction. 3 minus 2 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1, and I bring down the 4. I can see this right here, so I just do times 2 again. It's still 112. I subtract, I get a 2, and I have an answer of 22, remainder 2. So we can see that right from the start, double-digit division with remainders. We need to be ready for those things. Example 5a. Example 4. So I wrote 5a. This should be 4b. My apologies. A division with money, we just work. 5 times 12, 2. Multiply is 10. Subtract 2. Bring down 6. Divide 5. Multiply 25. Subtract 1. Bring down 0. Divide 2. 10. 0. Done. Decimal point. Straight up. Dollar sign. I have $2.52. When we do division with money, we will always come out with a correct answer, especially at the beginning. Okay, final thing for your notes is on the last page, on page 10. It talks about variables right here in lesson 1. What does variables mean? In your notes, you write variables equal letters. Letters that are used in expressions because we can pick any number. So if you go back to your fact practice, you notice there were a few ones that actually had variables in it. In the 3rd row, you had n times 0. What they're teaching you is any number times 0 is 0. So the answer for that one should have been 0. It doesn't matter what number you picked. For the 4th row, 3rd one in, you had n times 1. Well, you know any number times 1 is that number. So any letter times 1 is that letter. So your answer should have been the letter n. It's kind of a crazy way to start on lesson 1 for you, with challenging like that, but keep that in mind as we work those things. Example 5 I didn't put on the board. I'm just going to work them with you. They said x equals 10 and y equals 5. In the first one, you're adding those. 10 plus 5 is 15. In B, you're subtracting those. 10 minus 5 is 5. In the 3rd one, notice letters next to each other, multiply. 10 times 5 is 50. And in the last one, division, 10 divided by 5 equals 2. Okay, now you have that practice set, which gives you all kinds of helpful hints. 6th grade, I'm going to encourage you all year long, you need to do what's best for you and pay the price so that you have an understanding. Some of you are going to say, Mr. Bauer, this sounds like a lot of review for this first lesson. I don't really need to work too many of those problems. That's fine. Those problems are for you to get practice. Some of you are saying things are a little fuzzy, I'd like a little practice. I would highly recommend you to work some of those problems and just work them on your own. You can feel free to put them, if you want, onto the bottom of this paper down here to show that you're doing those things. It's up to you. You just have to know you well enough and be honest with yourself to say I could use some practice or not. Okay, now what I like to do is we like to get into the lesson and work the problems. I'm going to work the problems with you on the board doing the ones that I have circled. I'm going to show you the work. I'm going to show you the steps. Make sure you write the work and the steps down. Tomorrow when you get to lesson 2, I will show you how lesson 1 will help you do the quiz that you're going to take, and where I'm going to get most of your grade from is that quiz. I'm interested in you learning the steps with me on the board as we do the work, not just can you write down an answer. I know you can write down an answer. I'm going to give them to you right here on the board. Remember, if I get going too fast for you, just pause and make sure you can be caught up. So if you pull out the answer key that you're used to, we have boxes on the left that are big. That's where I want you to show your work. We have the circled problems on the right that have the same numbers in them. That's where I want you to write your answers. So you can see the first one I have circled is number 1. And I'm going to look at number 1. Number 1 says, when the sum of 5 and 6 is subtracted from the product of 5 and 6, what's the difference? So as I'm listening to that problem, I see that we have 3 vocabulary words that they're giving us. The first one is sum, which means addition. The second one is product, which means multiplication. And the third one is difference, which means subtraction. So now to work the problem, it's going to go like this. What is the sum of 5 and 6? So that means addition. 5 plus 6 equals 11. Then it asks me, what is the product of it? So now I turn around and I do 5 times 6 equals 30. Then it's asked me, what is the difference when this is subtracted from this? So I am taking 11 from 30 so that I set it up the right way. Now I know on lesson 1 you put the bigger number on top, but 6 in the future, that's not how it's always going to be. We're going to get negative answers, so make sure you understand from the number goes on top. Now I do the subtraction. I borrow. 10 minus 1 is 9. 2 minus 1 is 1. I get an answer of 19. This should have been written in the left bigger box. On the right small box, I write the number 19. Next one circled is number 2. It says, if the subtrahend is 9 and the difference is 8, what's the minuend? If you go to your notes, 6th grade, you see minuend is the first number. So I don't know what the first number is. I put an X. They told me what the second number was. They said the subtrahend is 8. They also told me what the difference was. They told me the difference is 8. I'm sorry, the subtrahend was 9. The difference was 8. So I have a problem that looks like this. Some number minus 9 equals 8. So I say, I need this bigger number. I'm going to turn around and I'm going to add that. 8 plus 9 equals 17. And my answer for number 2 is 17. Next problem I'm doing is number 3. Number 3 says if the divisor is 4 and the quotient is 8, what is the dividend? If the divisor is 4 and the quotient is 8, what's the dividend? Outside the box, on top of the box, I'm missing the dividend that goes in the box. When I'm missing the dividend, I multiply those two numbers together. 8 times 4 is 32. And so 32 is the missing dividend. Now we're going to skip a number of problems, and the next problem I'm doing is number 7. Number 7 gets written on the board as $43.74, and I am subtracting $16.59. And off I go. Cross out the 7, make it a 6, becomes 14. 14 minus 9 is 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. Decimal point straight down. Cross out the 4, make it a 3, becomes 13. 13 minus 6 is 7. 3 minus 1 is 2. Dollar sign, I have an answer of $27.15. Next circled problem is number 8. Number 8 is 64 times 37. 7 times 4 is 28, carry the 2. 7 times 6 is 42, plus 2 is 44. Moving to the tens position, I erase my distractor, add a 0. 3 times 4 is 12, carry a 1. 3 times 6 is 18, plus 1 is 19. Add those all together. 8 and 0 is 8. 4 and 2 is 6. 4 and 9 is 13. 1 and 1 is 2. I have 2,368 when I'm done with the multiplication. Number 9, big, huge list. 7 plus 8 plus 4 plus 6 plus 9 plus 3 plus 5 plus 7. And we're going to add those all together. You got a couple choices with this one. Some of you will probably look for things we can maybe pair together, like a 4 and a 6 to get some tens. Some of you might just work top to bottom to get an answer. You do what's ever comfortable for you. I'm going to look at this, and I'm going to go straight down. 7 plus 8 is 15. Plus 4 is 19. Plus 6 is 25. Plus 9 is 34. Plus 3 is 37. Plus 5 is 42. Plus 7 is 49. Now, 6, I'll encourage you with one like that. It doesn't hurt to do it a second time. Make sure you get the same answer because there's obviously many times to mess up as you work from top to bottom of that. The other thing is there wasn't too many ones you could pair together. You had 110 here, you had 110 there to give you the 20. Other than that, you'd had to go 15 and 5 to 40 plus 9 is 49. So then I tried to pair those things a little bit, check my answer, got to the 49. Next problem is number 10 for us. You can see the multiple numbers to do the addition. I'm going to write it over here. 364 plus 52 plus 867 plus a 9. Key to this one, 6, is make sure you have them lined up in your place values, ones, tens, hundreds, nice and neat. Top to bottom, 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 7 is 13, plus 9 is 22. Carry the 2. 2 and 6 is 8, plus 5 is 13, plus 6 is 19. Carry the 1. 1 and 3 is 4, plus 8 is 12. I have 1,292 for number 10. Skipping 11, we're moving to number 12. 12 has numbers in parentheses. What does parentheses mean? Multiply. I'm putting the bigger number on top. 316 times 18. 8 times 1 is 8, plus 4 is 12. Carry the 1. 3 times 8, 24, plus 1, 25. Add a 0 for the tens position. Erase the numbers that might confuse you. With the 1, it's pretty easy. 1 times 6 is 1. 1 times 1, 3. Now I got addition. 8, 8, 6, 5. I have an answer of 5,688. That moves us on to number 13. 13 is a division problem. $43.60 being divided by 20. Some of you might cross off zeros. That's fine. Just remember, when you cross off zeros, you're messing with a decimal point. And so I'll show you it the long way, and then I'll show you what it looked like if you cross off the 0. I'm just going to do the division like it is. 20 goes into 43 twice. That's 40. Subtract 3. Bring down the 6. 20 goes into 36 once. That gives me a 20. I subtract 6, 1, bring down another 0. 20 goes into 168 times. That's 160. Subtract, it's done. Decimal point straight up, dollar sign straight up. The answer is $2.18. Some of you wrote $43.60 divided by 20. You said, can I cross off a 0? You certainly can. This doesn't look like money anymore. And so what you have to do is you have to take that decimal and put it here. You're taking 2 into $4.36. 2 goes into 4 once. That's 4. Subtract. I bring down the 3. 2 goes into 3 once. That's 2. Gives me a 1. I bring down my 16. 2 goes into 16 8. decimal here straight up. And so same answer obviously, but if we left the decimal here and didn't move it, some of you would have said $21.80. That obviously isn't right. So be careful if you're trying to do those shortcuts that you keep it the way it's supposed to. Turning your answer key over, we got a few more problems to work. On the back side, the first one is number 16. We're going to do another big division problem, 3,708 divided by 12. 12 goes into 37 3 times. That's 36. Subtract 1. Bring down the 0. 12 goes into 10 0 times. You need that 0. 12 times 0 is 0. I subtract, I get a 10. I now bring down my 8. 12 goes into 108 9 times. 9 times 12 is 9 times 2 is 18, carry the 1, 9 times 9 is 1, 9 times 1 is 9, plus 1 is 10, comes out perfectly to 309. Key to that one, do not forget your 0 when you can't do the division. Number 20 is a subtraction problem. They gave me $10. What didn't they give me? They didn't give me the decimal point and the 2 zeros. Make sure you put that in there. Make sure you line up your decimals when you're subtracting of $2.34. Cross out the 10, make it a 9, 10, make it a 9, 10. Now you can do the subtraction. 10 minus 4 is 6. 9 minus 3 is 6. Decimal straight down. 9 minus 2 is 7. Dollar sign, you have $7.66. We got number 21. 21 is just normal subtraction. Make sure you line all your place values up. 4,017, 3,952. Can do the first subtraction. It's 5. Can't do the next. Got to go over here to the 4, 10, 9, 11. 11 minus 5 is 6. 9 minus 9 is 0. 3 minus 3 is 0. I obviously don't need to write those zeros. My answer is 65. Skipping a couple problems is 24. I have 560 over 14. Looks like a fraction. It means division. 560 divided by 14. 14 goes into 56. 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. Carry the 1. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 1 is 5. 56, 0. How many times does 14 go into 0? It goes in there 0 times. Make sure you have 40 for an answer, not 4. So it's making sure you're tracking those place values. 2 left, number 26. It says, what is another name for counting numbers? You can go to page 7 or 6th grade. You go into the first line in your yellow folder and you would see counting numbers means natural numbers. And so for number 26, I simply write down the word natural numbers. Last but not least is number 27. It says write 25 cents twice. How do I do that? A with a dollar sign and B with a cent sign. So they're just teaching you, hey, with a dollar sign, it's 0.25 dollar sign. With the cent sign, it's 25 cents. They're making sure you don't put a decimal with the cent sign like they did as an example in page 7 where they said this sign is wrong. They're making sure you know how to write it the 2 ways correctly. Okay, 6, that's the 15 problems I'm going to work with you. If you ever want extra credit in math, you can just work the other 15 problems and I'll give you extra credit in math. The other thing I want to show you quickly is half of your yellow folder here is going to be all the lessons we're doing. That's the first half, lessons 1 through 120. The second half of your yellow folder is all kinds of resources that'll be useful for you to remember some concepts. So the first page, about halfway through, is measurements here. But if you turn to the second page, it doesn't print very good. You might have to rewrite those things through the top, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But here's a big, huge multiplication table. Your brain might have taken a vacation over summer. You're like, man, Mr. Brown, that was a lot of multiplication. I was going fast for me. You have those things for you. And as we continue to work through the year, you will see that we have all kinds of wonderful, useful, helpful pieces of information in that yellow folder feel free to refer to it, and I'll probably send it to you a couple of times. We got lesson 1 done in math. We'll see you tomorrow for lesson 2.